have it on here. I don't know why it was not coming up. All right. I don't really need it. How are we doing, Sarah? Oh, I got it now, Charlie. Okay. I'm still admitting folks on the Zoom. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 1:06 p.m. I'm going to begin recording.
Recording in progress.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, to the San Antonio Housing Authority regular board meeting on this lovely April day. I want to remind everyone that we do have a hybrid environment using Zoom. Just a few etiquette reminders for the hybrid environment is if you are on the Zoom, please remember to mute by using a *6 to mute and unmute, and you can also go to the bottom of your screen to mute and unmute should you want to speak. If we have commissioners that are on the Zoom, we would ask that you turn your camera on so that we can see you and use your mute accordingly when you need to. We do have the live transcript turned on, and if you want to manage that, you can go to the bottom of the screen and turn that off and on should you need to. I will begin with the commissioner roll call. Okay, all right. Chairwoman Dr. Ana Cha Guzman. Vice Chair Olga Kaufman.
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert Casillas.
Here.
Commissioner Dalia Contreras. She was going to join us via Zoom. Commissioner Dalia Contreras. Okay. Commissioner Gabriel Lopez. Commissioner Lauren D. Dantzler.
Present.
There's Dalia Contreras. I'm admitting her now. Commissioner, did I say Lauren D. Dantzler?
Yes, present.
Okay. And Commissioner Ignacio Perez.
Here.
Doug Ponick, Board of Commissioner Attorney.
I'm here.
CEO and President Ed Hinojosa Jr.
I'm here.
We welcome Vicky Cavazos, the bilingual communications consultant. Commissioner Kaufman, you may call the meeting to order.
Thank you. The Board of Commissioners or its committee may hold a closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code 551-071-076 for consultation concerning attorney-client matters, real estate, litigation, personnel, and security matters. The board or committee reserves the right to enter into closed meeting at any time during the course of this meeting. First item is public comment. And do we have?
No, ma'am, we do not have public comment.
Okay, thank you.
We do have item number 3, though, for citizens to be heard, just so you're
Okay.
aware.
Okay, next item is citizens to be heard. And citizens wishing to speak on issues not related to items posted on the agenda should personally request to be placed on the citizens to be heard roster prior to 12:45 or register online and access phone number. And are they present here or are they on Zoom?
Yes, they're here on premise. The first one is Henry Rodriguez with LULAC. Yes, you can
Yes.
speak to the podium.
It's been a while. We never got to speak this fast. Thank you very much. My name is Henry Rodriguez. I'm with LULAC Concilio Zapatista. And I see some new faces. It's been a while. Actually, I'm here with my good friend Jeff Hall, who is the president of Residence Council at the Via Trent Casey Senior Apartment on Marshall Street. He has a mouthful to give you, but I just want to say that if you would please take into consideration some of the things that he'll be talking about. There's some serious issues there at such complex, like there are in others. And just one thing, I do want to thank you. I want to thank your CEO, Mr. Hinojosa, for being so gracious and meeting with us and talking about the things that have been taking place and some of the things that can happen and change for the better. We've been doing this for a long, long time, and I believe that the time has come that some of the things that are going to change and will change will be through mutual cooperation. The San Antonio Housing Authority has a long history. We used to be here since Mr. Apolonio Flores was here. And a lot of things have changed for the better, but some things, there's always improvements that need to happen. But I really thank my friend Jeff Hall there at Trent Casey Apartments, because the man has taken the bull by the horns. He's doing an excellent job as the Residence Council president, and his heart is in the right place. I have advised him quite a bit, and I will tell you that, the man has a lot to say, but he is very structured, more so than what I ever will be. I would say that. But then again, this is the kind of people that we deal with all the time. We try to nurture them and get them going and doing what is right and in the best interest of those people in those apartment complexes. During the freeze and during COVID, we were very, very active, and a lot of things happened that should not happen anymore if that situation comes about again. But nevertheless, I just want to just speak in general terms and tell you that I do thank you for what you all do and the service that you provide our city and our city of San Antonio and the people that reside in this type of environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Our next citizen to be heard is Jeffrey L. Hall.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for your time. Mr. Hinojosa, pleasure to actually sit in the same room with you. As Mr. Rodriguez stated, I am the resident council president and also a tenant at Via Trent Casey. The issue that I guess to get straight to the point is that 2 years ago, I sat and talked with Brandy and Zach about some of these issues that I've spoken with Mr. Hinojosa about in regards to security. A year ago, or just over a year ago, I sat with the mayor's office, the Department of Social Development, LULAC, and representatives of Sajos on the same issue. 2 years later, here I am again. Not to give you a history lesson, but in 1970, the Board of Commissioners put in a resolution 1812. Section B of 1812 states that the resident association serves to expand the opportunities for residents' participation with the housing authority staff. That's not happening. In operations of the housing authority, especially in the important areas of management, maintenance, modernization, safety, and security. It's not happening. Mr. Hinojosa, you just had a meeting with Chief McManus on some of these issues. Your opinion is well respected and appreciated. Mr. McManus as well, but you don't live there. I live there. And I wasn't invited to this meeting, and I have an issue with that. And it was a slap in the face when I walked in this building today, and you have more security at your front door than our residents have. And I didn't see anybody on the board monitoring that front door, yet we're required to do it. We have residents who are 97 years old, and they're required to monitor that front door because we don't have security. I could challenge each and every one of you sitting here right now to go with me and find me a security guard in our building, and you will not find it. As I reported to Mr. Hinojosa before, as of last November, and I don't know how many of you know this, there were 73 disturbances, 23 burglaries, 14 thefts, 8 assaults, 5 vehicle thefts, and 4 911 calls for shots fired. One of those shots fired, I called 911. The police didn't even show up. 2 weeks ago, we had a resident in fear of her life for somebody trying to get into her apartment. It took the officer 52 minutes to get there. He said that this was your responsibility. You guys put it on SAPD. District 1 Representative Mario Bravo puts it on Saha. District 1 has the largest number of homeless people in the city right now, and they keep trying to get into our building. There's no security gate. There's no security guard on property. And you expect the 97-year-old people who are in their 90s, and some of you, I understand, are actually residents, so you understand we can't do that. I'm a big man, I can't do that. So we need to sit at the table, and I request that we do that as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next item on the agenda, after citizens to be heard, is the approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the March 2nd, 2022 regular board meeting?
I move to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Minutes are approved. The approval of the March 16th, 2022 Operations and Real Estate Committee meeting minutes also need to be approved. Do I have a motion to approve the March 16th, 2022 meeting minutes?
I so move to approve.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we don't have any public hearing speakers? Okay, thank you. The next items are consent items.
I think that the way we normally do it is Tim does a briefing on this so that we can open the public hearing and then the public can speak. And if there's no speakers, we can move to the next item.
Okay.
Yeah, the Attorney General just requires us to actually open the public hearing, so I'll just do that real quickly for you.
Mm-hmm.
So is anyone here to speak on item number 5 regarding authorizing the bonds for the Palo Alto Apartments? Not here, no one, so we'll close the hearing. That's it, thanks.
Okay. So now we move on to the consent? Okay. Item number 6, consent items. Consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6217, authorizing the Las Patas Public Facility Corporation and Multifamily Housing Revenue Bonds, Series 2022, the Las Patas Public Facility Corporation to approve Resolution 22 LVPFC 0316, authorizing the bonds. The San Antonio Facility Corporation to approve Resolution 22 FAC 0316, authorizing its participation in is at South San Antonio at Palo Alto Apartments, and other matters in connection therewith. Timothy Elkett, Chief Legal and Real Estate Officer, and Lorraine Robles, Director of Development Services and Revitalization.
And this is on consent agenda, and you're welcome to take them individually or take 6 through 10 together. But this did go to the committee meeting, and it was passed on to the full board.
Madam Chair, you have items 6 through 10, and there's not a need to read each item into the record, so there are 5 resolutions, 6217, 6223, 6218, 6219, and 6220. And as Tim mentioned, these were discussed at a committee level. So If the board wishes to pull any one of these items, it may do so, but it can also approve all of these items in one motion.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve consent items 6 through 10?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank
Thank you.
Can
Are
I-
there any further discussion items?
When can I bring up,
The only item is regarding resident concerns, and we don't, staff doesn't have any to bring up at this time. If there's anything any of the commissioners have, we're open to hearing that.
you said residents' concern? Yeah. Okay, so at the last meeting, we heard from another resident, is that correct? Yeah, that, I think you and I talked about. So, can you update us on, or what your next steps are in regards to those issues? They both seem to have public safety and lack of police, what do you call it?
Right.
Response.
So anytime we have citizens to be heard, then staff will go back and provide feedback to the board as part of the packet, so you should receive that. I will say that very recently, Dr. Guzman and I had an opportunity to meet with the police chief to talk about the concerns that we're hearing from residents. The responsiveness from the police department has not been as good as what we had hoped, is what we're hearing. So we provided that feedback. And the police department was very appreciative. In addition to the police chief, there was 3 other directors of police services that report to him that were present in the meeting. And they are very open to meeting with us and continuing to partner with us to improve the safety at our properties. The police chief asked that we provide a list of property managers to them and locations, property locations, so that they can arrange meetings between the captain of each substation with the property manager. And we've done that, and they're in the process of organizing those meetings. So we're hopeful that this will be a first start to improving the police responsiveness. In addition, we also had some data regarding the incidents at each property, so we reviewed that and provided that to the police chief as well. And that's where we are in working with the police to try to improve the responsiveness at our communities. We continue to tell our residents, we don't have a police department. We're not first responders. If someone has an issue, they need to call 911, who's really trained to be able to handle the situation, and then also let us know that that's happened. So that's the process we're taking forward.
And so will there be a follow-up other than internally? Will you let us know, or is there something that you're going to provide the board at some point in regards to this? I think at our last meeting, we had a similar one, and I think a primary responsibility is to the residents that live in our complexes. So
Right. One of our goals is around security and residents, and you may recall that one of our outcomes that we planned as part of our strategic planning is residents feel safe. So periodically, on a quarterly basis, we plan to bring back to the board updates on what we're doing. And that'll first go to the operations committee, of course, and so that is the plan going forward.
well, I would suggest that at the next meeting of the operations committee, that these 2 particular concerns be raised and that we can hear back as soon as able.
Yes, we can do that.
I have a question. You said you met with the chief of police and it went really well. What is the plan to make sure that to give the community and Saha staff all the information that came from that meeting and what some of the plans are, because from what the gentleman said earlier, the police officer told him that it was Saha's responsibility to take care of that, of all the stuff that was going on. And so obviously they hadn't gotten the message.
Right.
So,
Yes, the incident he's referring to, and he did tell us about it as well. It occurred before the meeting with the police chief, but you're right. Our staff is not first responders. We're not police trained individuals. We don't carry firearms and things of that sort. So we continue to remind our residents that if they have an issue, if they have an emergency, they need to call 911 and deal with professionals that are
yeah,
trained.
but it seems like the professionals also need to be informed of this,
Right.
if that's what they're telling the residents.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, so will there be a response to the residents that spoke at the last meeting and at this meeting regarding this issue? And I think that's good. I think that should be one of our paramount concerns at the staff, and then brought back to us at some point as to how security at our apartments, or security officers, the people that work for the housing authority, respond or involve with the San Antonio Police Department. See if there's any synergy there or lack of, and that we can, what we can do to improve the safety of our residents.
Yeah. Whenever we have residents to be heard here, generally, we have staff available that can speak with them and try to speak with them either before the meeting or after the meeting, and that does happen. In the case of the resident that spoke today, I know our staff has been meeting with him and on a regular basis to discuss his concerns.
All right, I want to make a few comments. I kind of understand what he's going through because I've been in his position in the past. My parents lived in Villa Tranquesi for like 30 years, so I've been in that building quite often in the past. But I will speak about me living where I live, and the homeless issues are a problem. And they kind of start to get in and infiltrate our buildings and cause trouble or sleep in the laundry rooms and the stairwells and everything in other residents' apartments. I do understand it's not the staff's responsibility to police because they are not police, but I know that calling 911 or the police, sometimes they don't show up, so that's why there's not a record of everything that happens. I'm hoping that this meeting with Chief McManus brings forward some answers to the issues that are happening in the public housing communities. But there are some things that can be taken care of, like I've always said, people drinking in front of the building, well, there's a rule that you can't drink outside on the property. Well, and sometimes they're out there, they have a beer or two, they're there talking and stuff, but at my property, it's starting to get out of hand. We've had a couple of people really intoxicated and falling on the ground and can't get up, and afraid they're going to hurt themselves or something, and they're out there smoking, and now there's groups of like 10 people doing it in front of the building. And it's becoming a concern now. There's another issue, and I brought it up to Ed, to where some residents report issues to the office, to management or the staff. And they're people that have lived there for many years, 20 plus years. And there are issues with other residents of things that they're doing that shouldn't be happening in the building. And they told me that their answer is, would you like to move? It's okay that those people are doing what they're doing, but the people that do good, or would you like to move? And I don't think that's the response that our staff should be giving to residents who are abiding by the community rules and Saha's rules. And I hope Brandy may look into that. And because I don't think that's the proper answer to give to a resident who abides by the community rules. And security on the property, they do have security, and Ms. Danzler made the same observation I've had, that they come, they sit on the property in their vehicles on their phones, and then they drive off. The other day, the security guard walked into the building, stood at the door, looked outside. I walked into the building. I saw him park and walk in, and he was standing there, and he walked out, got in his vehicle and drove off. That was doing no good, and there were like 10 people in front smoking and drinking and carrying on, and just went about his business. And so if we're going to have security, they need to, I guess you all need to set parameters or what they're supposed to be doing, and maybe that's a conversation we need to have with Domingo. To what they're supposed to be doing, or let us know what they're doing.
Ed, my impression is that this issue, or these types of issues, will continue to come forward. And so if it's not a priority, or I don't know if priority is the right word, but it's something that we need to address on a consistent basis. And so I, for one, will bring it up again next meeting. And there's committee meetings related to this, and then we should keep that at least as one of the priorities. I know we have a lot of stuff to do, but I think that should be one. Resident safety, that's sort of part of our job. So look forward to hearing hopefully progress, some sort of plan moving forward.
If I may comment, I think a large portion of the security issue is prevention. So, as my fellow commissioner stated, it's in the security. So if it can be caught before they have to call the police or address at that particular moment, then there's a lot of prevention, along with the staff cooperating with the complaints of the residents. That would help out a lot. And so you see a lot of, like my fellow commissioner mentioned, with the security, but also non-cooperation with the property management is a brush off. So if we can get more compliance there, I believe we would have a stronger chance in prevention of crimes at that moment rather than later.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. We will take a look at our security contract and the parameters around it, and bring back to the Ops Committee a discussion about that.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the President's report. So that would be Ed, you're
Yes,
up.
thank you. So I wanted to report that we received $1 million in an earmark funding that Commissioner Joaquin Castro was able to get for us, and so we were happy for that. So he came out to one of our properties, the George Cisneros Apartments, and we had a little celebration. He had an opportunity to meet our residents, and we talked about Wi-Fi. So that was recently that we did that. Saha also hosted a Digital Inclusion Alliance meeting here in San Antonio in our boardroom, and there were various entities focused on advancing digital inclusion, so we were happy to be part of that. We've resumed our fire training at our public housing communities. We used to do this pretty regularly before COVID. During COVID, because of the situation, we were not able to do that type of training, but it's now in place again, so we'll be circulating through the different properties and doing that. Tim Alcott, who's our Chief Legal and Real Estate Officer, was selected to participate in the Urban Land Institute Health Leadership Network. So this is going to be a series of meetings. So we congratulate Tim on that. And I wanted to mention that 11 Kids is a nonprofit based out of California, and they're launching an after-school program for residents at some of our communities. And this is a public housing community called Riverside. And so we were kicking that off. And then finally, we had an Employee Appreciation Day where we distributed free paletas and, of course, our annual bus passes to employees at the central office. So that's the formal report, but I also wanted to make an announcement about some director changes that we have. First of all, as you know, Ayana Longoria has been serving as our interim HR director, and after a search, a national search, Ayana, could you stand if you're in? Ayana was selected as the director for HR, and she's accepted the position. So congratulations to Ayana. And then Stephanie Rodriguez, are you here, Stephanie? Stephanie, after a search, has been selected as our director of Section 8. Stephanie has been at Saha for a number of years in different capacities. Most recently, she was working in public housing, and I know they were sorry to see her leave there, but she's making a great contribution in Section 8. Thank you, Stephanie. And then with the departure of our Beacon portfolio director, we have Melissa Garza, who has assumed the interim director position. Melissa has worked in different areas, most recently in our development group in real estate. She's also worked in compliance, and before that she was in property management and actually ran Alazan for a number of years. So she's going to be our interim director of the Beacon portfolio. Congratulations, Melissa. So that concludes the president's report for today.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say real quick, I appreciate that you promote from within, that you take the talent that we have here and the people that know what happens within San Antonio housing. So congratulations to all of you. Stephanie, you are a loss to public housing, but I've worked with you hand in hand many times in the past, but you'll do great at Section 8. And congratulations to the rest of you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all the new appointees. Next on the agenda, we will proceed to the nonprofit corporation meetings, Las Varas Public Facility Corporation meeting, and the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting. Do we do Las Varas first? Yes.
So I think the procedures to recess the regular board meeting.
Yes, that's essentially what she's done. So if you can just start this meeting, and then once we're done with both nonprofit meetings, we'll go back to the main meeting for the closed session.
For both of these items, the facility?
Yes, but for the Las Varas Public Facility Corporation meeting, and then the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting. So you can start with Las Varas.
We don't need to do the roll call again?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that?
Joanne?
Yes.
Trustee? All right. For the Las Varas Public Facility Corporation, I am conducting Commissioner roll call. I believe we have Commissioner Contreras on Zoom, so when I call your name, Commissioner Contreras, please unmute. Chairwoman Dr. Ana Cha Guzman. Vice Chairwoman Olga Kaufman,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert Casillas,
Here.
Commissioner Dalia Contreras, Commissioner Lauren D. Dantzler,
Present.
Commissioner Gabriel Lopez, Commissioner Ignacio Perez,
Present.
Doug Ponnick, Board of Commissioner Attorney,
I'm here.
CEO and President Ed Hinojosa Jr.
Here.
Let me call the meeting to order.
Thank you. And first item we can address is the public comment. Do we have any public comment? On
No,
that?
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's continue to the approval of the minutes from last meeting, February 2nd, 2022. Las Varas Public Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes. We have item number 3 is a consent item. Consideration and approval regarding Resolution 22LV-PFC 0316, authorizing Las Varas Public Facility Corporation multifamily housing revenue bonds in Series 2022 and other matters in connection therewith. Timothy Elkett, Chief Legal and Real Estate Officer.
So this is a companion item to the matter that was discussed in regular session, so unless there's a request for Tim to speak to this, you can just go ahead and act on this item.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
So you can adjourn that meeting and then move on to the Housing Facility
Okay,
Corporation.
so we'll adjourn and continue on to the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation Board meeting.
Are there any public comments?
Roll call
Okay,
again?
is this-
No, that's
No?
okay.
No, we do not have any comments for public comment.
Okay. No public comment. Item number 3, let's approve the minutes of February 16th, 2022, San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And we have item number 4, consent item. Consideration and approval regarding Resolution 22 FAC 0316, authorizing Sosa at Palo Alto Apartments transaction, including the execution of all documents necessary to carry out the transaction, and authorizing all fillings and agreements with Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs in connection with applications for low-income housing tax credits, and receipt for the transaction and the lease of such land for the transaction, and also authorizing the acquisition of the membership interest in Saja Sosa at Palo Alto, and authorizing the financing for such transaction, and authorizing San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation to serve as a joint venture in the general contractor and other matters in connection therewith. Timothy E. Elkett.
And as before, this is a companion item to the item that was approved at the regular meeting, so unless you have questions for Tim, the board is free to act on this item.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve item 4? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. And now we can
You can
adjourn.
And we'll return to the open session, the regular meeting, the board Saha regular meeting, and item 13. And with the board's permission, I can read that into closed session. Would that be all right?
Yes.
Okay, the board will consult with its attorney and discuss personnel under sections 551.074 and 551.071 regarding the president and CEO performance evaluation process. The time is 1:45.
We will
And
pause recording.
Commissioners, we're set up to move into the other
Recording
room,
stopped.
and staff will stay in here, so we can do the closed session in the other room.
Will Dahlia be able to join us over there?
Good point. We hadn't anticipated
We
that.
do have the Zoom up there. Is that right, Jose? In the Commissioners Conference Room? Yes, so we'd have to do a breakout session over there,
Okay,
but we can do
so
it.
she'll be able to stay in the closed session.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
But we'll do it in the Commissioners Conference Room.
Then we come back here?
Well, to the extent there's
Oh, okay.